recent Izmit earthquake that ravaged one of Turkey's largest cities on August the 17th. It's over 17,000 dead, nearly 44,000 injured, and 600,000 homeless. This may be one of the worst earthquakes of the decade. One of the major factors contributing to the massive death toll was that it happened at 3 a.m., meaning that people were asleep inside their houses. The quake destroyed 120,000 poorly built houses, and another 50,000 good houses were damaged badly but not destroyed. In commercial districts, 20,000 other buildings collapsed, and another 4,000 suffered heavy damage. It even caused a fire in the oil refinery containing 700,000 tons of oil, which took 3 days to control. Power was out for 12 days after the earthquake, which also meant that water pumping stations couldn't function either. Also, Izmit is an industrial city, generating much of the country's money and is predicted to take £10 billion to repair. Areas where damage was most heavily concentrated can be seen here, such as the Izmit Bay area, Istanbul, and all along the fault line. The earthquake was caused by the Anatolian and Eurasian plates moving past each other. The plates stuck together but were still being pushed by the convection currents of molten rock in the mantle, which fuel plate tectonics, causing stress to build. Eventually the strain was too much to bear, and the plates snapped forward, causing massive shock waves lasting 37 seconds and measuring 7.4 on the Richter scale, which is used to measure earthquake magnitude. The relatively low 17-kilometer depth of the focus, which is where the rock breaks, was mainly responsible for high damage caused. During the quake, the plates moved almost 6 meters apart, and this can be seen in several areas. The epicenter, the point directly above the focus on the surface, was very close to several major cities, including Izmit, Gölcük, Bursa, and to a lesser extent, Istanbul. It would seem that much of the damage was not just from the strength of the earthquake, but also from cheap building practices. For more, we went to fellow journalist.
Many of the apartment blocks that collapsed were new. Some were built using poor quality materials. This earthquake could not have been avoided, but perhaps some of its dire consequences could have been.
One builder confessed that he mixed seawater with concrete instead of proper refined water. The added salt prevented the concrete from bonding properly, meaning that during the quake, buildings might as well have been held up with sand. Some columns had too little bracing and reinforcement, resulting in their collapse. Often walls had no reinforcement whatsoever, resulting in a pancake collapse when the floors of buildings drop on top of each other. Corners were often left unreinforced, meaning that the building swayed from side to side and then collapsed. The Turkish government had set in a building code to prevent these failures, but many construction companies ignored this in favor of higher profits. 55 builders have been arrested. The Turkish government has promised to properly enforce building regulations in the future and to install a £2 million earthquake warning system for Istanbul, Turkey's capital. The Turkish Red Crescent has sent 4 mobile hospitals, 79,200 blankets, 2,000 sleeping bags, 26 mobile kitchens, and 25,000 kilograms of food. International aid has come from the USA, the UK, Hungary, Israel, France, Germany, Austria, Romania, Russia, Switzerland, Iceland, Greece, Bulgaria, Spain, Egypt, Italy, and Azerbaijan. Emergency service has had some trouble getting cranes to affected areas to dig people out of rubble due to roads being damaged to the point where they cannot be crossed by heavy machinery. Also, Turkey is a relatively poor country and doesn't have enough supplies available or money to rebuild. One fear is that due to the homeless staying grouped together next to rotting bodies with inadequate medical supplies, that diseases like typhoid and cholera could spread through contaminated water due to the inactivity of water pumping stations. Another is that reconstruction efforts won't be finished in time to at least prepare solid shelters besides tents for the winter. An eyewitness of the earthquake living in Eskişehir, about 200 kilometers away from Izmit, said, "I was on the internet chatting with some friends at about 3 o'clock. Suddenly the monitor started shaking. I was going to write, 'There's an earthquake here,' but the electricity went off. I threw myself onto the bed. My room was shaking and there were some crunchy noises coming from the walls. It lasted about 20 to 25 seconds. I'm not sure. My mother, who was asleep at the time, woke up. I heard many sirens of ambulances. I thought the epicenter was Eskişehir. Then we left our apartment. About an hour later, a weaker earthquake was felt. There were still minor earthquakes being felt. Everybody was out. A police car announced that the earthquakes might go on and that the public had to go into clear areas such as parks. Now it's 7:28. I heard that a 7th-floor apartment collapsed in Eskişehir and 2 people had died. Many people are injured. Next, the presidential election. Who will win? Some say Bush might win against Al Gore, but only if he fakes results. This and more on CNN. I was on the internet chatting with some friends at about 3 o'clock. Chris, go away! An eyewitness of the earthquake living in the Matrix seems to be experiencing technical difficulties. 7:50 seconds. It would script. An eyewitness of the earthquake living in Eskişehir. Can we just do that paragraph again?
Sure.
Turkish Red Crescent has said, we seem to be experiencing some aftershocks. We go outside. Commercial break.